March is Women's History Month. For this segment of A Bit of Addison History, I would like to highlight Addison's first female village trustee, Janet Miles Mueller. Mueller was born to Tyrus and Irene Miles in January 1934 in Detroit, Michigan. The Miles family moved to Elmhurst, Illinois in 1946. In 1954, Janet married Raymond A. Mueller and put down roots in Addison. The Muellers had 5 children, 4 of them girls. It is not surprising that one of Mrs. Mueller's first community involvements was with the local Girl Scout organization. She began as a troop leader in 1965 and later served as a consultant, service unit director, and council delegate until around 1980. Mueller was appointed to the village board in November 1977 after the resignation of trustee Gail Gustafson. She and her husband had supported the Addison Citizens Party the previous spring. Following the election, she had been appointed to the Plan Commission. After joining the village board, Mueller was made chair of the Public Service Committee and added to the Finance and Land Use Committees. She was also named School District Liaison and a member of the Emergency Committee. During her first term, the major village accomplishment was the expansion of the South Wastewater Treatment Facility. Despite becoming a village trustee, Mrs. Mueller continued to be involved in her community. At this time, she served as vice president of the newly formed Addison Historical Society. Mueller ran her first elected term on April 17, 1979. She ran as a member of the Citizens for Addison Party. One of her main campaign issues was improving the drinking water for Addison residents. The cap slate ran unopposed. Because of this, voter turnout was low, with only 335 total ballots cast. Of this number, Janet received 334 votes. During this term, the Diversey Avenue pumping station went online to mitigate the constant flooding in the area. The station had 5 pumps capable of pumping a total capacity of 109,000 gallons a minute and was formally dedicated on July 7, 1979. In the April 1983 election, Mueller was one of 9 candidates and the only incumbent to run for 3 open slots on the village board. Again, she was a candidate for the Addison Citizens Party. A total of 3,217 votes were cast, and Mueller was the lead vote getter with 1,595 votes. She ran on her record of supporting Lake Michigan water for Addison residents, the purchase of water leak detection equipment to eliminate flooding, and the expansion of the North and South wastewater treatment plants. She and the party were also credited with bringing cable TV to Addison and the construction of the Westwood pedestrian bridges to enable children to get to Indian Trail Junior High School without crossing Lake Street. The Addison Citizens Party swept the elections. In her third term, in response to community complaints, Mueller called for a crackdown on industrial pollution. She advocated the institution of a pre-treatment program which would require industries to obtain village-issued permits for discharge into the wastewater collection and treatment system, in the hopes of reducing the high levels of metal pollution. Mueller stepped down from the board in the spring of 1987 after 10 years of service. Village President Anthony Rosado remarked, "I don't think anyone has worked harder for the community than Jan." Her departure from the village board did not end her community service by any means. From 1988 through May 1994, she served on the Addison Historical Commission. And from 1992 to 2011, she served on the Village of Addison Zoning Board of Appeals, where the majority of her time was spent as chair. Later, she served on the Guild Council, Board of Governors, and Foundation Board. Upon receiving their Distinguished Service Award, she said, "You do all these things not to be rewarded or have any glory come to you. I just do it because it really makes me feel good to give myself up for others." Mrs. Mueller passed away at the age of 77 in September 2011 after decades of service to her community. Today, a park bench in her memory graces the front entrance of Addison Village Hall. You can learn more about the history of Addison by visiting the Addison Historical Museum. The museum is located at 135 West Army Trail Road.